Why does it hurt more? The more we love? Love, the one thing we're all drawn to, can also be the very thing that breaks us the most. Not because we're fragile, not because we chose the wrong person, but maybe, just maybe, because we gave too much of ourselves. Love in its purest form always carries hope. When you fall for someone, you don't just give them your heart, you give them a future you've imagined, a future where things work out, where they love you back just as much, where pain doesn't exist. But that sweet imagination, it quietly becomes fertile ground for expectations to grow. The more you love, the easier it is to idealize someone. Not because you're naive, but because you've already invested so much emotionally, and when you invest, you naturally want something in return. And the higher your hopes, the harder the fall. Disappointment in love doesn't feel like disappointment at work or with friends. It feels like betrayal, betrayal of everything you deeply believed in. The pain doesn't just come from what happened. It comes from the gap between what you thought would be and what really was. And then comes the guilt. You blame yourself for believing too much, for dreaming too far, for loving too deeply. You ask, why did I let someone get that close to hurt me? The answer might be painfully simple, because your love was real. And real love, when not received in the right way, can cut the deepest. So one of the main reasons people who love deeply often hurt deeply is because they love fast, they love hard, and they rarely stop to check. Is the other person on the same page? Love isn't always symmetrical. You might be giving someone your full attention, while they see you as just one of many priorities. You get excited when they're online, you feel happy when they reply, while they might be replying to several people at once. This mismatch isn't always intentional, but that feeling of being left behind, that's the part that hurts the most. Ironically, people who love deeply often make excuses for the other person. He's probably busy. She's just not ready. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. So they keep loving, keep giving, keep hoping the other person will one day wake up and love them back the same way. But the more you try to earn love, the easier it is to lose yourself. Because love, if not genuinely reciprocated, turns into emotional weight. And in that journey, only one person gets tired. Love shouldn't be a long waiting game. It shouldn't feel like a guessing game where you wake up every day wondering, do they care today? If a relationship constantly makes you feel like you're waiting, worrying, chasing, it might not be love anymore. It might be you, hurting yourself under the name of love. Here's a hard truth. A lot of the pain we feel in love doesn't come entirely from the other person. It comes from how we love them. It hurts not just because we were rejected, but because we poured everything into something that couldn't hold it. We're sad not only because they were distant, but because we sacrificed so much, hoping they'd notice. And then we end up saying, maybe loving too much is the problem. But loving deeply isn't wrong. What's wrong is making love the only thing that keeps you emotionally alive. It's forgetting that you can exist and be happy without centering your entire world around someone else. Real love isn't about losing yourself. It's about staying whole and choosing to walk alongside someone. You shouldn't have to give more, endure more, or ask for less, just to be accepted. If you've ever been deeply hurt, it doesn't mean you were foolish. It means you were all in. You trusted, you hoped, you gave. And that in itself is beautiful. But a beautiful heart also needs boundaries. Loving deeply is a gift, but only if it doesn't cost you, you. When you fall in love, it's easy to want to become one with the other person. You start adjusting your habits, your likes, even your values, just to fit them better. At first, it feels romantic. I change because I love him. As long as he's happy, I'm fine with anything. But look closer. Sometimes that's the beginning of losing yourself. People who love deeply often don't realize they're slowly fading. They give in during arguments, give up things they enjoy, and stop speaking up on just to keep the peace. But that peace doesn't come from true understanding. It comes from the fear of losing someone they love. Over time, you can't tell which feelings are yours and which were shaped by them. You're not sure if you like something because you do, or because they wanted you to. And each time that happens, a little piece of you gets pushed into the background. What makes this so dangerous is how quietly it happens. There's no big explosion, no warning signs. Just one day, you pause and think, when did I stop being me? Love is not about dissolving into someone else. It's not about becoming a softer version of yourself just to stay. Because if love asks you to disappear, then what's left isn't love anymore. Sacrifice is part of love. We all give a little, compromise, bend. But the problem starts when the giving never ends, and it's always one-sided. People who love deeply often fall into the role of the fixer. They believe, if I'm good enough, patient enough, kind enough, they'll change. They'll see my love and finally give me theirs. But that belief puts you at a disadvantage. You end up enduring silence, coldness, even emotional hurt, and then tell yourself, maybe I'm still not enough. Have you ever loved someone that way? Where you constantly had to try harder, be better, just to feel worthy of their affection? Where every day felt like guessing their mood, trying not to upset them, hoping they'd choose you today? That's not your burden to carry. If love makes you feel like you're always falling short, maybe that's not love. At least not the kind you deserve. You can give a lot, but the right person will never let you give alone. They won't need you to shrink just to stay. Because in real love, both people walk together, not one running while the other watches from behind. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't giving more. It's knowing when to stop and ask yourself, where am I in this relationship? There's a kind of love that slowly turns into a silent competition, a test to see how much you can tolerate. You keep telling yourself, if I hold on just a little longer, maybe they'll change. So you hold on, and they stay the same. The pain here isn't always loud. It's not harsh words or cruel actions. It's small things, repeated over time. Being ignored, brushed off, dismissed when you need to be heard, and instead of asking why, you just endure. Because you think this is love. But love isn't about proving how much pain you can survive. It's not a medal for those who can smile through heartbreak. Real love makes you feel safe, not exhausted, not anxious. Some people grow up believing that love has to be hard, that if it doesn't break you a little, it's not real. They learn that from sad songs, dramatic movies, or unhealed wounds from the past. But that belief is wrong. You don't need to suffer to prove your love is deep. You don't need to feel lost to say it was real. Loving so much that you break yourself is not beautiful. It's a sign you're loving in the wrong direction. So if you're in a relationship where you feel more drained than loved, maybe it's time to ask yourself, am I still me in this love? After heartbreak, some people start to fear love itself. They shut down. They build walls. Or worse, they begin to believe they're unlovable. But the truth is, love isn't the enemy. It only becomes dangerous when we step into it unhealed, still carrying wounds we've never truly faced. Here's something people rarely tell you. Love can't heal wounds you won't acknowledge. If you enter something new with a heart still bleeding from the past, you'll just repeat the same patterns. Loving too much, expecting too much, hurting too deeply. So before asking how to love someone better, the real question is, can you love yourself first? When you can comfort yourself, when you know your worth without needing someone else to validate it, you stop giving parts of yourself away just to be chosen. Loving right means you don't have to trade your peace for someone's presence. You don't have to prove anything. You just get to be fully yourself and still be loved for it. If you've ever loved too hard and it left you broken, that doesn't make you weak. It means you loved with everything you had. And if you can pause, reflect, and heal, then the next time you love, you won't love less, you'll love better. One of the clearest signs you're loving the wrong way is when you have to pretend just to hold on. Pretend you're okay when you're not. Pretend you're not hurt when you are. Pretend you're chill when deep down you're anxious they'll pull away. That's not love. That's survival. In a healthy relationship, you don't have to perform. You don't have to smile when you're breaking. You don't have to chase clues or second-guess silence. You can speak your fears, show your scars, share your limits, and still feel safe, still feel wanted. Real love doesn't come from always agreeing. It comes from knowing how to face conflict without losing respect. From being fully seen, flaws and all, and still being held close. The wrong kind of love wears you out because you're always afraid of being too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too real. The right kind of love makes space for all of you. Once you've tasted that kind of love, you'll never settle again for one that asks you to shrink. Because love should never feel like... Many people enter love hoping it'll fix something. A loneliness, a past hurt, a piece of them that feels unfinished. But love is not a rescue mission. It's not a cure for wounds you haven't treated yourself. Real love is two whole people. Not perfect, but whole enough to walk together. Not needing someone to save them, but choosing someone to share life with. No one can carry your pain for you. But the right person will sit beside you in it. They'll listen. They'll learn how to hold your hand through the hard parts. Not to erase the past, but to help you move through it. You don't need someone to make you flawless. You need someone who sees your unfinished parts and still sees your worth. Someone who doesn't try to change you, but reflects back the parts of you you've forgotten how to love. Love isn't an escape. It's not a flotation device for drowning hearts. It's companionship. It's freedom. It's two people walking forward. Not because they're broken, but because they're whole enough to choose each other. And when you love from that place, from wholeness, you won't hurt the way you used to. Because you'll know, whether they stay or leave, you are still you. Whole, worthy, enough. Love can be beautiful and brutal. Maybe you've loved so deeply that the heartbreak felt impossible to survive. But hear this, loving too much was never your fault. What hurt you wasn't love itself, but the way you forgot yourself inside of it. You deserve to be loved, not because you give more, not because you endure more, but because you are you. And when you learn to love yourself first, you'll never fear heartbreak the same way again. Because now you know, no matter what, you'll always find your way back to yourself, stronger, softer, and more whole than ever before. And if this episode resonated with you, if you've been through heartbreak, or if you're learning how to love yourself again, leave a comment, share your story. I'd love to hear it. You're not alone on this journey. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more conversations that go beneath the surface. Thanks for listening. Be kind to yourself. And remember, real love begins with you.